Hi Seahawks, my name is Natalie Parra and I'm here with the Harbor College Transfer Center to give you this tutorial on how to create a Cal State Apply application so that way you can apply to Cal States for fall 2022 transfer admission. We're going to go ahead and get started with this tutorial by going to the Cal State Apply website. So as you can see here, it's calstate.edu/apply, and you can watch this tutorial from start to finish to help you follow along and see how to enter everything you need to so you can do your application. When you're done with this application, do not hit submit until you have someone at the Transfer Center assist you with your application, and I'm going to show you how to get assistance from the Transfer Center. You can go to our Instagram, for example, our Instagram name is LAHC Transfer Center, so you can actually go to instagram.com/LAHC Transfer Center, and I'll actually link that in the box down below in the description of this YouTube video. But you can go to this website, and you can actually go to make sure you follow us on Instagram, by the way, because we give all the transfer news and updates here every single day. But you can go to our link in bio, and you can click on Transfer Center Zoom Lobby, and you can get assistance there. We do have assistance available for our students. Our hours are actually posted on our Instagram too. But as you can see, you can get Zoom assistance on the Transfer Center Zoom on Mondays from 9 to 3, Tuesdays 9 to 7, Wednesdays 9 to 7, and Thursdays 9 to 5. We'll also be open on Saturday and Friday this week in Zoom, assisting students with applications. So go ahead and just click on this Transfer Center Zoom lobby. I'll actually link the lobby down below too, so you'll be able to get to it multiple ways so you can get help with reviewing your application before you hit submit. But I'll go ahead and get started with helping you with this tutorial, and let's go ahead and get to it. So when you go to the Cal State Apply website, you can scroll down. When you scroll down, there's going to be a little box here. You're going to choose Fall 2022 because we're applying for Fall 2022 transfer admission. Go ahead and hit Apply. And then it's going to take you to a login page. So if you have not created an account yet, you're going to click Create an Account right here. You're going to put your name and information. You're going to create a username and password and confirm that password, agree to the current terms and conditions. And then most of my students, I have not had a single student yet that's in the European Union area with these countries affected, so normally this answer is no. Now if you already have an account, you can just go ahead and log in and sign in. And then the first thing it asks you to do is it asks you which campuses that you want to apply to. So you're going to pick whichever campuses you like. I'll give you some examples for our students that are very common. So our students actually have local preference to Cal State LA and Cal State Northridge, meaning that as a local student from LA Harbor College, you have priority admission consideration as well as a GPA bump. So let's say, for example, a student wants to apply to Cal State Los Angeles for the psychology major. So you can search Los Angeles just like this. And let's say the student's getting the psychology associate degree for transfer at Harbor College, so that actually works perfectly with Cal State LA's psychology major. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this plus button right here next to the major, and that's how you add it. Another campus that's really popular for our students is Cal State Dominguez Hills. So if you want to apply to Dominguez Hills, you can type in Dominguez Hills here and search that in the filters, and it's going to show you every single major at Dominguez. Dominguez is actually a very short drive from Harbor College. It's definitely our local school. So if you scroll down, you'll just hit the plus button for that major. And then another really popular one that our students like to apply to is Cal State Long Beach. So let's say you want to apply to Long Beach. You can just type in Long Beach just like that. And scroll down and choose whatever major you want. For this example, we're doing psychology. And some campuses have a lot of majors, so you'll see you might have to find yourself scrolling for a while. And a lot of times my students get application fee waivers. So I would say about 9 times out of 10, my students are income eligible to receive a fee waiver. So I normally encourage my students to think about applying for 4 campuses, just because when you get a fee waiver, you get to apply to 4 campuses for free anyway. So that's something that I do recommend for my students. A fourth example of a campus that you could pick, let's say Northridge. since we talked about how Harbor College students are considered local to Northridge. So when we click on this one, you can just scroll down to psychology again and add that campus. Now once you're done adding all your campuses, you can hit continue here at the bottom and it'll let you move on. As you can see, I have 4 campuses. It says I have a total of $280 in fees for application. However, at the end of the application, if you qualify for the fee waiver, a little type text here will come out that says check my fee waiver status, and it will tell you if you're going to get the fee waiver or not, but that's not until the very end. So if you wanted to add more campuses, you realize at this point, oh no, I need to add more schools, you can click add more programs here. If this is more than enough for you, you can go ahead and continue. You can also go back and add and change campuses at any time during the application. So you can click continue to my application. And then these are the 4 boxes that you have to complete. So there's personal information, academic history, supporting information, and program materials. I'm just going to go through each box for you and help you understand what to put in each one. So for the release statement, you have to check off that you understand and acknowledge all components of the application, that everything has to be accurate, complete, and if you do anything inaccurate, you do have the risk of ruining your chance of getting admitted. So that's why we have to make sure everything's perfect before you submit it. And it will not let you move on until you check all those boxes. For biographic information, you're going to put your name and information here. You can put your legal sex. So I'll just do some examples here. Let's say, student wants to put decline to state because it's their privacy. That's just fine too. All of these questions you can choose to answer however you like, including being able to put that you decline to state. That's fine too. It's just up to you, whatever you're comfortable with sharing. You don't have to share anything that you're not comfortable with, but they do ask these questions for you, so go ahead and answer them however you feel comfortable doing so. And then you're going to put your date of birth here. So in this example, and then your country. And I am filling this out completely sure that everything is done in the correct way in this tutorial. Okay, and then these questions just ask if the student has any experience being considered a foster youth or an unaccompanied minor or an emancipated minor. So just answer these questions based on your experiences, not based on how this tutorial looks, but just based on your experiences. And then the next section asks for contact information. So you're going to put all your contact information here. I'm going to go ahead and fill that out now. And once I'm done filling out my address, phone number, and email, I can move on to the next section. Now the next section is regarding U.S. citizenship. So you're going to select the response that best matches you. We do want to make sure that the students put the correct information. So for my students who are a U.S. citizen, you can put this here that you're a U.S. citizen. If you were born outside of the country, you can indicate the year that you came to the United States or moved to the United States. And then for residency, you'll put California as long as you're a California resident, which most of my students are. And then do you claim California residency? If you've been paying in-state tuition at Harbor College, then you're going to put yes here. It's very uncommon that I have a student that's not a California resident. That's typically just my international F1 visa holding students, meaning my students that are here with an F1 visa. But ideally speaking, my students are normally California residents, and it's important that we answer this part correctly. If you need help, get some help from the Transfer Center. We're glad to help you answer these questions based on what you share with us. And if you have not lived in California continuously since birth, let's say you moved here in 2005, you can put, for example, 5/5/2005. And then you can go ahead and save and continue. Now for my students who are dreamers or AB 540 or undocumented students, you are going to fill this section out a little bit differently. And we want to make sure that everything's correct so that you can still receive the benefits of, for example, the DREAM Act. So instead of putting U.S. citizen here, you can put instead none. And then you can indicate your country of citizenship here. So let's say, for example, your country of citizenship is actually Costa Rica. So then you can choose this here. And then if you were born outside of the US, what year did you or will you move to the US? Let's say that was back in 2002, right? And then you are still going to indicate that you're a California resident and that you claim California residency. Yes, no, you might not have lived here since birth, but let's say you got here on February 1st, 2002. You can just put this here and then save and continue. And then you go on to the next section. Now, when it comes to race and ethnicity, you can choose whatever you would like. You can put yes here or whatever applies to you. I'll give some examples, but you can just put whatever you wish to put in all of these sections based on your identity. You can indicate whatever applies to you. And you can put these answers and save. And then you will put your social security number here if you have one. So if you have one, you can select yes and enter your SSN. If you don't have one, you can choose no here and that you acknowledge that you do not have a social security number. Now, the next question they ask is for a statewide student ID number. This is a unique 10-digit number assigned to you if you attended a public California K-12 high school. The number is located on your high school transcript from California if you went to a public school. You can also leave this number blank if you don't have it. It's going to be on your public high school transcript, but it's not a mandatory question. You can leave it blank if you need to, but if you do have access to your high school transcript and you want to put it in, please do so here. You can indicate your first language here. Say, for example, it was English, or maybe you learned two languages at the same time. Maybe, so you can put whatever applies to you. And then military status, you can indicate if you have or have not served in the military. And if, let's say, for example, you notice you answered this incorrectly, you can go to your extended profile to change it. We'll go over the extended profile in detail too. Military dependent question, there is a question if the student is a military dependent. Answer based on your experience. Now, are you in good academic standing with your last school attended? You're going to put yes or no here. That just means typically 2.0 or higher GPA. Yes, and then you're just going to indicate yes or no to all of these responses. Most of my students have no here. In the event that something has occurred where you have been academically disqualified or disciplined, anything like that, you can put yes here for transparency purposes. I haven't seen a student get denied for example, being academically disqualified at any time. And then you can just indicate here if you're interested in getting a teacher credential or other credentials. So you can put yes or no. And then there is a question about CalFresh. If you're interested in checking your eligibility for monthly food assistance to be used toward groceries through CalFresh program, you could put yes or no here. I normally encourage my students to think about putting yes here just because it's a good resource for students, especially when you're in college. There's a lot of concerns of food insecurity. So I think it's a good idea to choose yes if that's something that you would need support with. And then Cal Promise. This is a program for California resident students who are first-time freshmen and are interested in finishing their bachelor's degree in 4 years, or ADT students who wish to complete their degree in 2 years. So if you're getting, like, for example, the psychology ADT and you want to graduate in 2 years from a Cal State, you can do Cal Promise and you can put yes. And then the RN license question, do you have an RN license or expected to achieve an RN license? This is specifically for my students who just graduated from, for example, the Harvard College Nursing Program, and they either just passed the NCLEX exam and they now have an RN license, or they're getting ready to take the NCLEX exam, let's say in the next couple weeks or so, then they'll put yes here. For everybody else, you can put no if you do not have an RN license and are not planning to have an RN license within the next couple of months. And then how did you hear about us? You can choose however you like. A lot of my students select that they heard about us from their counselor or advisor. Then you can hit save and continue. Move on to the next section. And then for financial and parental information, so this asks about your household income and size information. So if you have any of these check boxes applied to you, this means that you would just select one or more of the above statements apply to me. If none of these apply to you, then you will put none of these statements above apply to me. So if none of these apply to you, this means that you're a dependent student, meaning that you depend on your parents or guardians. You're going to put your family's income, your parents' income in these boxes. Now, if you put that one or more of these apply to you, you're an independent student, meaning that you financially provide for yourself, and you're going to answer all of these questions based on your income. So whichever one applies for you from here is going to change the responses here. Now, a lot of my students ask me, what is untaxed income? It does ask the size of the household, adjusted gross income for 2020. That's on the tax forms. And then the untaxed income and benefits. This is normally, for example, let's say untaxed income could be, let's say I am a babysitter on the weekends and the parents pay me cash to babysit their children. The cash that I receive from babysitting is untaxed income because it's just handed to me in an envelope. So that's an example of untaxed income. Most of the time my students put 0 for untaxed income. And then you just indicate if you're interested in campus housing and your parent or guardian education level. And then after that, you can just move on to the next section. If you're independent, you just put the same information but for yourself here. And it is okay to put 0 if the income size is 0, that is okay. Some examples of a student having to put 0 for income is if the student has been unemployed for the entire year or their family has been unemployed for the entire year. If the student is a recipient of something, for example, like SSI, Supplemental Security Income, as well, that does count as 0 for the income. And then you can hit save and continue and move on to the next section. So when we click here to my application, you'll see that after finishing all those boxes, this green circle is completely green now. Once all the green circles are completely green for each section, this means that you are done with the application and it's ready to submit. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to academic history. So we're going to go ahead and put in the high schools attended. You are going to add your high school here. So in this example, we'll do 90731. It's a local zip code. We can choose San Pedro High School. Let's say the student attended from August 2016 to June 2020. And then after that, you just choose the term type. All of our LAUSD schools are semester schools. And then you can choose that you have or will have your high school diploma. Select a high school, you choose San Pedro High School. And then the date received, it could be June 2020. Some students, they do have multiple schools, so you can add more schools if you also went to a different school as well on top of that. Change schools in the middle of high school, for example. You can also add a home school if you went to a home school too. So those are the options available for you. And then you can go ahead and save it. And move on to the next section. And it does ask you to make sure that's correct. You can put yes, it's correct, as long as it does appear correct to you. And then the next question, academic information. Did you attend high school outside the United States? In the example that I used, San Pedro High School is not outside of the United States, so you can put no here. If your high school was outside of the United States, you can put yes here and indicate your academic GPA based on the country that your education was in. If you're not quite sure what to put, because for example they didn't give grades or something like that, you can put NA and A, but you can put high school GPA, standing, or percentage. You can put if you received diploma, A level, abitur, or certificado. You can put no if this was you. Now in the colleges attended section, you're going to want to add all of the colleges that you've attended. So in this section, let me see here. So for this student, they attended Los Angeles Harbor College, and they add that college by going to the colleges attended section. And there's a button that normally appears that says add a school. So we're going to actually delete this college and add it all over again. Now, if you reapplied to Cal State Apply by submitting an application the year before that, and you chose that you're going to reapply to the campus, this button will ask you to choose I have reviewed this information instead. So you'll see that these sections do look a little bit different if you're reapplying, but you can do at a college or university, and you can select Los Angeles Harbor College by typing the school's name here and choosing it. Did you or are you planning to obtain a degree from this college or university? Yes, you can select yes here. If you're getting your degree in June 2022, that's just fine. Let's say you're getting the psychology degree. That's an Associate of Arts for transfer. Major is psychology. The month you will earn that degree is June 2022. No minors at our college are available. And if you are getting a second ADT in, for example, history, sociology, etc., you can add it here. If you're only getting one ADT, that's just fine. If you're getting one of our local degrees, let's say for an example, an associate in liberal arts with an emphasis in, let's say, social and behavioral sciences, we don't have exactly that title in the options for here, but you can put something similar. So you can do associate in liberal arts as the degree and the major as social sciences. If you're getting the arts and humanities degree, you can choose associate in liberal arts with emphasis with the major as humanities. So something similar to the title. For this example though, the student is getting an AAT in psychology. If you're getting both an AAT and an associate in liberal arts, I would recommend that you just put the AAT or associate degree for transfer, because that one is tied to admission and provides additional transfer benefits. So we want to make sure we're focusing on your associate degree for transfer. And you can ask the Transfer Center for help with this section as well. We're glad to help you. At our college, we are semester. And most of our students, 9 times out of 10, pay in-state tuition. So you can put that here. And then when did you attend this college? So you're actually going to work off of what's on your transcript to determine when you started attending this college. So you're going to work off of the first line of your transcript. So I have an example of a transcript that we can use. So in this example, the student began their education in summer 2017 at LA Harbor College. This is at the very beginning, page 1 of the transcript. So that's what we're going to put here. We're going to put that the first semester was summer 2017. So you could put just regular summer here, starting in June 2017. Let's say the student is still attending our college, so you can put that here and hit save. Now the transcript will tell you if you went to any other sister schools. If you did, we do have to add those. So you do want to look very carefully at your transcript. In this example, it'll show you right here where it says college on the transcript, it'll show you exactly where the class was taken. So if it says LAHC, that class was taken at Harbor College. If it says LASC, that class was LA Southwest. That class was from LA Southwest College. LAVC is LA Valley College, another sister school. ELAC is East Los Angeles College. So you want to make sure you look at your transcript when you download it from your portal, and you want to add each campus individually. So this student would need to add Harbor College as a campus, Southwest, Valley, and ELAC. So let's say this is the only class the student took at ELAC. So they would add a college, and it would be East Los Angeles College. No, the student's not earning a degree from ELAC. They just took one class there, and then they're going to do semester here. They were in-state tuition. And based on what's on that transcript, they attended from fall, August 2020 to December 2020. And then once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and hit save. And now we have the student that the student attended these 2 campuses, but you would add every single sister school that you attended based on the dates of attendance on your transcript. Let's say you went to a different school like El Camino, Rio Hondo, LBCC. Those are not going to appear on your Harbor College transcripts, so you're going to actually want to go to those transcripts from the schools outside of our district and add in those campuses based on the dates of attendance on your transcript. And if you need assistance with that, the Transfer Center can help you with that as well. Moving on, so if you're done adding all of your colleges, you can do college coursework here now. Now again, if you are reapplying to Cal States, they're going to ask you to review this information. If it's your first time applying, you don't have to click this, but this is mainly for students who are reapplying. Now, you don't want to ever click this I am not adding any college transcripts button. You always want to make sure you add your college transcripts because the Cal States look at that as part of your admission decision. So you want to make sure you add everything correctly. So let's go ahead and start off with LA Harbor College. And when you click on that school and you click add a semester, and I'm going to show you exactly how to add in some classes. So I like to encourage my students to try to do split screen just so you can see everything very easily. So in this example, we're going to do the first semester. So summer, you can choose summer 1, year was 2017 based on what's on the transcript. Academic status, so your first 30 units are considered freshmen. So as long as it's 30 units or less in your transcript, then you're going to put freshman there. Completion status, this semester is already done, so you can put completed. Now, do you have to add this class even though you got a W in it? Yes, you do. You want to add every single class on your transcript, line for line, like a carbon copy. When you type in counsel, for example, counseling 1, right, which is what the student took, you're going to type it out, and you might find it here, so you can click on it there. One trick is if you're typing it out, don't put spaces because then it takes away the result. When you remove the space, it gives you the result. So don't put a space in between the letters and the numbers, and then it auto-populates the units if the class is transferable. For the subject, we're going to put counseling because that was the subject, and the student got a grade of W. So you can add that there. You're going to put it right here in the grade section, and I always tell my students to put capital letters for the grades. That's the only class the student put, so we can just hit save. And then we're going to add the next semester. So you can add a semester with that button there. And the next semester was fall 2017, so I'm going to help you add those classes. So fall 2017, freshman again, completed. You're going to add every single class on here. So I'm going to start. We're going to go actually to in the exact same order as how the classes appear in the transcript. So in this case, the student took Art 301. That was art class. And they received a grade of B. Now, the next class is non-transferable. And we know that because instead of it saying CSU UC or CSU, that's what the transfer classes say, the non-transferable classes only say AAAS. So I'm going to show you how to add some non-transferable classes. In this example, we're going to do English 28. So I'm going to type it out exactly how it appears here. So I'm going to type out English 028. As you can see, it does not appear. That's because it's not transferable, but that's okay. And then the course title, I'm going to match it exactly with how it appears on the transcript. So INT space reading and COMP. For the subject, that's an English class, so we're going to put English for the subject. That was a 3-unit class, as you can see on the transcript, and it was a grade of C. I'm going to do a capital letter C for the grade, and I'm not going to check off this transferable box because it was not a transferable class. And then I'll show you one more example. So the student also took Math 115, which is not a transferable class. It does not appear, but that's okay. We're still going to add it. We're going to do elementary algebra for the course title. That was a mathematics class, and that was a 5-unit class, and that was a grade of W, and we're not going to add it as transferable. Now the last example is a class that a student got a letter grade of less than C, so they got a D, and they repeated it for a higher grade later on. The reason we know that is because the D, underneath it says course repeated excluded from GPA. So we're going to show you exactly how to add this class, knowing that the student repeated it later for a higher grade. So you're going to still add that class, Psych 1. Subject was psychology. Now instead of putting the letter D grade there, since the class was repeated for a higher grade later on, we're just going to put capital R, capital P for repeat. So anytime you repeated a class for a higher grade later on down the line, add the original class, but don't put the grade, just put capital R, capital P, as long as you got the new grade already. If the student was taking Psych 1 right now, and they haven't got a grade for that class yet, and they're taking it in fall 2021, you're going to have to put the original grade. But if you already repeated that class and you have the new grade, just put capital R, capital P. And you're going to hit save. Now, let's say you got academic renewal for a class, meaning that the class, you never repeated it, but the D is no longer accounting against you because you received higher grades and now your GPA has been repaired. So I'm going to show you what to do if you got academic renewal for a class. And the way you can tell if you got academic renewal for a class is if it was a D or an F, and instead of it having the class added to your GPA, it puts academic renewal grades units not used. So I'm going to show you exactly how to enter that class. So for this example, it was a class from spring 2018. Student was still a freshman, right, because 30 units have not been completed yet. That semester is completed, so we're going to mark it as so. And that was Child Development 1. Subject. Now, child development does not appear in Cal State Apply, but you can choose early childhood education instead, and that's just fine. Now, for the grade, we're not going to put that D there because then it's going to add it to the transfer GPA, and we're not even adding it to your GPA at Harvard College. So you can put capital A, capital R for academic renewal, and then you'll just go on adding the rest of the classes. So you go ahead and add them in. And you're going to work all the way down through the application until you are done. So you want to make sure that you take your time in adding every single class individually, and then don't hit submit. That's why we tell our students, do not hit submit until somebody at the Transfer Center has checked your transcript and verified that everything's done. Now, one thing that my students sometimes forget to share with me is if they have AP scores. If you have AP scores, you do need to add them to your transcript, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's say, for example, you took AP Spanish language and you got units for that. You want to make sure you add it to the first semester that you attended Harvard College. So for this example, let's say the student had AP Spanish language. So we're going to go ahead and add that in there now. So their first semester was summer 2017. So we're going to add the course, and it was AP Spanish language. So I'm going to show you how to put that in there. So for this example, the student took AP Spanish language. So we're going to add AP Spanish language. We're going to type it out just like it appears on the College Board score, and then that goes for course code, and same thing for course title. It's AP Spanish language. Now, if you got a score of 3, 4, or 5, you can add them in. If it was a score of 1 or 2, you don't need to add it in, just the 3, 4, or 5 score. And then for the subject, you're going to put it as test credit, no subject, units. It's 6 units for the AP Spanish, and then you're not going to put a grade there. You're just going to put capital CR for credit, and then you put your other classes down below, and then you hit yes that it is transferable, because you got transferable units for that class. And let's say, for example, the student took AP English language, right? So we're going to add AP English language, again, AP subject is test credit, no subject, 3, and then that was a score of, that was a grade of credit. Now we want to add it as a transferable class too, but you want to make sure your AP scores are all stacked up. So this would be incorrect. You would want to make sure that it goes AP scores, and then after that the Harvard College class. So it would be, for example, the counseling 1, counseling, and then the W there. So this would be the correct order. So all the AP scores lined up first in that semester, along with the Harvard College classes at the end, and then you hit save. And let's say, for example, the student took an honors class. So let's say in summer, you can just choose summer 1 because we don't have a summer 1 and 2 at our college. Some campuses do, that's why they have that on there. Let's say the student's still a freshman and the class is completed. Let's say the student took Honors Humanities 17 in summer. So you can do Human 17. Now, to distinguish an honors class, you can put just a letter H, capital letter H, after the class. And that's how you distinguish as an honors class. So let's say, for example, it's Humanities 17, and then you can just put that letter H there. And then subject is Humanities. And that's for my honors students, my honors transfer program students, and my students who have ever enrolled in honors classes. you can go ahead and add it just like that. So I'll give you some examples of how to put in the classes, but don't forget you do have to enter the classes line by line as they appear on your transcript in the exact same order. And I'll do one more example for you of what you need to add. Now, one section that you always want to check on your transcript is the very bottom final page, and it's called the non-credit section of your transcript. Now, if you have any classes in that section, it could be a basic skills class, it could be a tutoring class, you want to go ahead and add them right here. So you do want to make sure that you check the very bottom of your non-credit record, which is on that last page again. And as you can see, this student took tutoring 1T, which normally our students get credit or non-credit notation on their transcript for this when they did tutoring in the library or a basic skills class if they ever did a summer bridge class back in 2017. But you will add that as an extra class. So this student took it in fall 2020. So we would add in fall 2020. And academic status was, let's say for example, freshman still, because not quite 30 units completed. And the class was called Tutor 001T. So since it's not transferable, it's not going to appear in the search when you start typing in the class. So as you can see, you can type in all caps TUTOR 001T and nothing appears. That's totally fine. You just want to make sure that when you do your application that you enter it exactly how it appears on your transcript. So you'll put it just like this so it can match, and then for the title, you'll put it in the course title as supervised tutoring. And then for the subject, you can put special topics, and that was a 0-unit class. And as you can see, there was no grade, so you can put here capital N, capital G for no grade, and you're not going to mark it as transferable. And so any class that you see in this section, you're going to go ahead and put them here too with their corresponding semester. Then you can go ahead and save that. Now, sometimes my students had to, because of an emergency situation or a crisis, they had to receive an EW for a class, which is an excused withdrawal. Those also appear on your transcript, and you do need to include them. So I'm going to give you an example of how you would do so. So let's say the student went to ELAC and they got an EW in their class from spring 2020. So you go ahead and add that class. Let's say spring 20. Fall 2020. So status was sophomore, let's say, and they completed the course because technically that semester's over. So let's say they took Spanish 1, had to drop that class, so it counts under Spanish. You'll just put the grade as EW, capital EW, and then hit save. So that way you have that saved. Once you're done adding all of your transcripts, you're going to select yes, I have completed entering my transcript, and save your transcript. The next section is standardized tests. So in the example that we used, our student had some AP scores, so you're going to go ahead and add them. So our student did have AP Spanish language. Yes, the student took it. You're going to put your AP ID from your AP score. It's optional, but you can go ahead and put it if you have it. Let's say the student took their exam in May 2020. Let's say May 13th, 2020, and the score was a score of 3. You can save it and add another exam. And let's say for the second exam, just like in our example, the student took AP English language. You can put that there. Yes, and then the student also took that one, May 2020. So May 13th, 2020 as the example, and the student scored a score of 4, and you can save that test. So now you added your AP scores. CLEP scores, I have not had students take CLEP exams, but if you do have CLEP scores, you can put them in here. Same thing goes with IB. I don't have students that take IB scores. If you do not have any test scores, I'll delete this just so you can see what it looks like. If you don't have any scores, then you can just select I am not adding any standardized tests. And you can always change it if you realize, oh no, wait, I do have some AP scores to add. You can add them back in. Now for general education, as you can see, you want to make sure that all of these classes are filled out. So in this example, the student took English 101. If the student didn't take English 101, let's say they took AP English Language and Comp, then you can put the AP English Language there instead. Your math is Math 227 normally, or transfer level math. Oral communication is Com 101, Com 121, for example, and critical thinking is normally English 102 or English 103, journalism 105. So you're going to select the class from the drop-down menu and pick it to add here, and then you hit save and continue. So as you can see, once you have all your classes in, it will show you every single one. Now, this section too also needs to be carefully reviewed by somebody at the Transfer Center. So like I said before, do not click submit without letting us check it first, and we are glad to help you out with that. And do not select opt out for any of these, please, because that would not be good. So just put in your classes and then have the Transfer Center help you review. And then when we go to the next section, as you can see, we're moving right along and getting these sections filled out. You can go to supporting information, and it does ask about EOP. So if you're interested in participating in EOP at a Cal State, which is Extended Educational Opportunity Program, we have EOPS at our school. So if you already participate in EOPS, you should definitely apply for EOP. So in this example, the students enrolled in EOPS at LA Harbor College. And yes, you should apply to EOP. Especially if you have high financial need. So if you're not in EOPS at Harbor, but you have high financial need, you should definitely apply to EOP. If you ever attended a Cal State where you were enrolled in EOP, you can put yes, but most of the time my students did not go to a Cal State at all. They're transferring right in for the first time, so they can put not applicable. Indicate if you participated in any of the following programs. Let's say the student was in Puente for 2 years. And then where do you plan to live? So you're just going to indicate where you plan to live and things like that and so on. After that, it does ask you some more information. So once you put all of your financial information here, you can go ahead and move on to the next section. So they do ask if you receive, for example, CalFresh or Section 8, for example, school lunch programs, and you can go ahead and continue after that. And as you can see, they do ask about the student's parent and guardian information. You can come back later to do these sections, but when you do put in your parent and guardian occupation and income and things like that, you want to make sure you put everything. You can also come back later to do that section. Even after you submit your application, you can still finish working on your EOP questions. And then it does ask if you're ready to complete the biographical questions, which are little short essays just asking about your personal life experiences and background. You want to discuss any barriers or financial needs that you have, volunteer activities. One thing they do ask is why would you like to attend college, discuss your career and personal goals, school experiences. You can indicate it's perfectly fine to say that you've been in college for such and such amount of years and that you want to continue to succeed in your college education by transferring to university. I think these questions were made for freshmen to answer too, because they also ask, did you utilize any additional support at your high school, such as tutoring? Do your grades in high school and or college reflect your academic ability or potential? You want to answer these questions as a college student. I would say you can still answer, I participated in tutoring in high school with my math teacher. In college, I participated in the math lab. At my college, I do such and such activities and so on, just because you are a college student. So you want to indicate that you are answering as a college student. You also have to put in recommendations. So you can ask recommenders to help provide responses about their assessment of your skills, abilities, and potential to succeed at a university as an EOP participant. So you can put their name, email address. You can put a recommendation deadline. They have it saved here as 12/1/2021, so you don't have to edit that. And then I always recommend putting thank you so much, just a little short message, as well as your phone number. For example, this is a transfer center phone number, but you can tell them that they can call you if you have any questions. about your application. And then if you choose to waive your right to access the recommendation, you could put yes or no. If you put yes, then you won't be able to see the recommendation once they send it out. If you put no, you will be able to see the recommendation once they send it out. And then you just check off the boxes and save the recommendation request. Now, as you can see, if you're getting an associate degree for transfer, like our student in the example who's getting an associate degree for transfer in psychology, you'll get an extra box called associate degree for transfer ADT in the same section as EOP. So you want to make sure that you check and make sure it says Harbor College for your ADT. Your major in this example, the student's a psychology ADT, so we have it there. Your ID number you're going to put here, so it's your 9000 number. And then California Community College ID number, we don't have those at our school, so you can leave that blank, and it is an optional question. And let's say, for example, you're going to be graduating in spring with your ADT, so you can put June 2022 and save and continue. So now when we take a look, we're almost done. We're making really good progress. The last section is program materials. So this just asks you questions. Each campus has access to this individually. So this is what Dominguez wanted to ask you specifically. Long Beach, Cal State LA, and Northridge. So let's go ahead and go through these. So Dominguez asks, for example, if you're interested in going to medical school, or to be a doctor, dentist, veterinarian, or healthcare professional, would you like to see a PreHealth Advisor? So you can just put yes or no, whatever applies to you, and save. For Long Beach, they don't ask any additional questions, so that's why you get an automatic check mark. For Cal State LA, they do want you to match your classes. Like, see how they say, will you complete an Associate of Arts for Transfer in Psychology? Yes. By the end of spring, yes. Were you able to successfully add all of your coursework and match them to GE requirements? You put yes, but Transfer Center can help you with that. And then certify that the information is correct and save. Okay. And then for Northridge, they ask to acknowledge that they are working to have a safe resumption of on-campus activities and enrollment. You can ask for vaccine exemption if you need it. Are you applying as a student who is returning after being academically disqualified at CSUN? More than likely, no. And then this is like a note that your major is impacted, that you're applying to, so psychology is impacted. And you just acknowledge that you understand this notice before submitting your application by entering a date below. So we can enter today's date, for example, November 17th, 2021. And you can hit save and continue. Okay. And now all these boxes are done. So am I going to submit? Not quite yet. I want to make sure that I go to the Transfer Center on Zoom to get help with the final review of my application before I turn it in. So you could go ahead and, like I said before, you can go to our description down below in this YouTube video and you'll be able to see the link to join us on Zoom. You can also go to our Instagram, link in bio. And from our link in bio and Instagram, you can click on Transfer Center Zoom Lobby. Just make sure you follow us on Instagram at LAHC Transfer Center to get the full information and Transfer Center news. And we look forward to helping you on Zoom with your application. And as you can see, it looks just like that. And you'll be able to get some assistance from us at the Transfer Center. Thank you so much for joining us and have a wonderful day. We cannot wait to help you transfer, and we'll see you soon to get that application reviewed. Take care. Bye.